Lights are hot.
Okay, guys, we're going to rock and roll on the show here. Take a look at the screen for today's headlines. The search firm that's assisting the University of Virginia has indicated the university faces a major obstacle in hiring its next president. We'll talk about that today on the show. I think the obstacles are, interestingly, it said obstacle, Judah.
Yeah.
For me, it's obstacles, period. Would you not agree?
I mean, there are certainly problems. It's hard to say what obstacle they're referring to.
Bingo. Keith Smith this morning ran numbers. City of Charlottesville, year to date, is down 8% with the units sold in 2025 versus 2024. Median values, year to date, down 8%, 2025 versus 2024. It's a pretty big chunk. Like and share the show. Like and share the show. We're going to get rocking and rolling in a matter of moments on the water cooler of conversation and content, the I Love CVille show. I want to talk on today's program the new zoning ordinance. The trial date has been set. That should read 9/2026, Judah.
Okay.
9/2026. That is a year from now. It's just hilarious. The hilarity of the trial date set a year from now is just adds to the hilarity of governance in the city of Charlottesville. We'll talk about the trial date being set on today's program. How about this headline? There's a nomadic pig randomly roaming Albemarle County. What's that nomadic pig doing?
Having the time of his life, I'd imagine.
A randomly roaming nomadic pig is on the cusp of turning to bacon. You say he's enjoying freedom. I say he's about to be fried.
We'll see. So, I mean, eventually somebody will, I think, claim him.
Yeah.
It's not like...
My wife's skillet.
It's not like he came from the wild...
No, he's not a boar.
Herds of pigs that roam the countryside.
He's not a boar.
No.
So much to cover on the program today. And how about that football game tonight? We'll touch on that at the top of the program. Like and share the show. If you're watching on any platform, the only thing we ask in return is that you like and share the show. We work extremely hard for you. That's literally the only thing we want from you is liking and sharing the show on the Friday edition of the I Love CVille show, ladies and gentlemen. Things looking good on your end, Judah?
Yeah.
All right, we can rock and roll when you're ready.
Quiet on the set.
We're live on YouTube.
Yeah.
Excellent. Welcome to the I Love CVille show, guys. My name is Jerry Miller. Thank you for joining us on a Friday afternoon in downtown Charlottesville. So much to cover, including the trial date for the new zoning ordinance now set for the month of September in 2026. We're a year away from that trial date. The hilarity of the court system and the inefficiency of governance, not just specific here, but across the board, is just infuriating for someone like me who's used to moving swiftly and quickly with decision making and projects and tasks at hand. This story is not even close to being in its final chapters. And I'm curious to see how the plaintiffs, what they do in Charlottesville from a financial resources standpoint, from a time commitment standpoint. Goodness gracious, the opportunity cost of their time with this lawsuit is significant. And you got to be talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. I don't know the exact number. When this is all said and done, and legal costs, attorney fees, and now they know that it's a year away, and that's not even the conclusion. That's just the trial date being set. This judge does not move quickly. And they also know, the plaintiffs, that the city has a legal team that is now the senior partners of the firm representing them, and not just the junior partners or the middle management of attorneys in this song and dance. I want to talk about that on today's program. I want to talk the hiring firm. I found this story intriguing. I don't know if you found this intriguing as well. The hiring firm, they're basically headhunters, right? The headhunters that are searching for the next president of the University of Virginia. It's a Boston-based firm. How would you say it? Isaacson and Miller is the Boston-based firm. Isaacson and Miller. The founder and chair of this Beantown firm, John Isaacson, says the search for the University of Virginia's next president faces a major obstacle, but he will not clearly indicate what that major obstacle is. I think Judah and I, with the help of you, the viewer and listener, will try to predict, prognosticate, conversate of what that obstacle could be. We'll have that conversation on today's program, guys. We will talk on today's show, I thought an incredibly concerning data point from our Friday morning talk show, Real Talk with Keith Smith. The entire premise of Real Talk with Keith Smith is real estate. He crunched the numbers in residential real estate year to date. So from January 1 to September 26, and this year, 2025, the units that have been sold in Charlottesville, attached and detached, an 8% drop in median value compared with the same period of time and the same product type in 2024. An 8% drop in value. And you know and I know the transactions that happen in the most recent time, the arm's length transactions, are what determine or help determine assessed values. And those assessed values are the baseline for tax collection along with the real estate tax rate. I'm going to say it again. I find that maybe we're the only platform that's emphasizing this, but there seems to be considerable headwinds for Charlottesville with its budget and its tax collection right now. I want to have that conversation on today's show. I want to talk Albemarle County Public Schools, the weapon screenings. I'm going to call them metal detectors. Can I call them metal detectors, Judah? Is that all right?
I would assume that's what they are.
The metal detectors at Albemarle County Public Schools, rough start with the implementation, rough start with the efficiency, rough start with the time involved with students working their way through these metal detectors and into hallways and classrooms. Very inefficient to start the school year. Now, a school board member is on record saying, we figured them out. Kids can walk through them, and it's fairly frictionless. We'll pass that story on to you. We'll talk about a nomadic pig randomly roaming Albemarle County. Yes, swine, wild, I can't say wild, I would imagine, is a pig that's tied to a farm wild, or is a pig tied to a farm domesticated?
I'd say it's domesticated.
Because a wild pig would suggest a boar that's on the loose, that's living on its own in this free world. A pig tied to a farm is fed and is generally within the confines of a farm and its fence and its pigsties. So if it's escaped from its pigsty and its farm, then it's not wild. It's domesticated, right?
Yeah, I doubt it was grown up in the wild.
Right, so that would be a boar.
I mean, it could be a wild pig, but I don't think there's a whole lot of that in the U.S.
There's a random roaming pig in Albemarle County. We're going to talk about that on today's program. I'd like to highlight Charlottesville Sanitary Supply. I'd like to highlight Andrew and John Vermillion. 61 consecutive years of business. Goodness gracious, 61 years, guys. Charlottesville Sanitary Supply, John Vermillion and Andrew Vermillion. They are 5 generations in Albemarle County of family, and their business is 3 generations strong. It's located on East High Street and online at charlottesvillesanitarysupply.com. They have a mechanic on site to fix your vacuums. Your pool robots for cleaning the pool, mechanic can do that as well. They have lab technicians that can assess water quality and improve the health and safety of your swimming pools. And they have the best product inventory list that you have when it comes to anything sanitary supply needs. They work with a lot of the schools, a lot of the local jurisdictions, their departments. Honest, communicative, trustworthy, just good men. Good men. Charlottesville Sanitary Supply, locally owned and operated. Judah Wickower, studio camera, please. And then I'm going to ask you what headline most intrigued you today and why on the final show of the week, which has been a good week for this network, been a good week for this firm, been a good week for the various services we provide this marketplace. We've been in operation since 2008. I mean, geez Louise, we're approaching 18 years of serving this community at the Miller organization. Which headline most intrigues you and why, Judah Wickower?
The pig one is just fun. Something crazy and goofy going on in Charlottesville and Albemarle almost every week, but this one is I get a kick out of it. I'm also curious about what the hiring obstacle is with this firm looking for a new UVA president. You want to start there with the lower third on screen? Sure.
Viewers and listeners, the Boston-based headhunter, the Boston-based search firm has indicated that there's obstacle. Isaacson and Miller, the firm, they're obstacles. He told the founder, the 28-member presidential search committee this past week at the Boar's Head Resort that this is a challenging job to fill. Why don't we start open-ended on what those challenges are? You want me to lead?
Sure.
You have a board of visitors that is embattled at best. How would you characterize, viewers and listeners, the UVA Board of Visitors right now? I would say embattled at best. And why do I say embattled at best? Well, the appointments are being challenged left and right. The politicians in Richmond have said Youngkin appointees are not viable or legitimate appointees to the board. Cooch is a great example of this, Ken Cuccinelli. Mm-hmm. Embattled at best, Senator Cree Deeds, a lawyer by trade, an institution in Richmond, is investigating the rector and the vice rector, Sheridan and Wilkinson, took it from 46 questions asked in friendly capacity to now Freedom of Information Act requests with much more aggressive stance. Mm-hmm. And battled at best because Spanberger is a clear-cut potential winner for the governor. And she saw Youngkin set the stage with Burt Ellis with malfeasance and malpractice as a removal tactic to clear the board.
Yeah.
And Youngkin appointed Ellis. What's Spanberger going to do when she's in office? Mm-hmm. Embattled at best, this Board of Visitors. A premier and prestigious board, perhaps the most premier and prestigious across the Commonwealth, right? Has now become, why would you serve on that? Why would you open the Pandora's box of media scrutiny, offering your most precious commodity to the time to lead an institution that's become so polarizing, it's on the radar of the president?
Yeah.
Embattled at best. So when a headhunter, a search firm, goes to hire the next president at the University of Virginia, after Jim Ryan's surprising resignation, a resignation that happened under obvious crossfire, right?
Yeah.
This search firm has to find someone that's willing to work as a school president, someone who in the private sector could command exponentially more money than the roughly $1 million in total yearly compensation the UVA president will be offered. Pomp and circumstance, all the perks, all the dog and pony, call it $1 million even, right there. And they have to find someone who's willing to take the job when there's a governor's race that's yet to be determined, that will change the political climate of the Commonwealth and its premier institution. Take the job when the board that is essentially the bosses of the president is facing tremendous scrutiny and may not even be there this time next year, at least some of them.
Yeah.
Where the rector and vice rector may face an investigation, certainly are being FOIA'd by a state senator, and battled at best. It seems like there's a political landmine every other day at the university. And this headhunter, this search firm is saying, goodness gracious, this is a tough position to fill.
Yep.
Viewers and listeners, the obstacle, and I'm going to weave Judah in for his thoughts, that the University of Virginia is facing to hire the next president of Thomas Jefferson School, Judah Wickower.
Well, there's certainly a large trust issue all around, and not just in one particular direction. But the staff and the students have made known their lack of trust in the Board of Visitors.
Demanded a say.
Yeah, they want more say in who becomes the president. Whoever comes in as the new president is going to have to work on rebuilding trust with the students, the faculty, and the staff. And that's if, I mean, I don't know who they're looking at, but there's a question of politics. We all know President Ryan's politics leaned somewhat to the left, and he had set up a lot of the DEI initiatives at the school. Part of the reason why he was, whether you want to say pushed out or however you want to phrase it, it did not seem like he was doing enough to dismantle those. I've read articles stating the fact that the DEI initiatives were wrong, and that they were against policy. So you've got to find someone who's willing to take UVA at where it's at right now, which is a pretty crazy place.
Jim Ryan said on the record, being a school president is no way to make a living. His words. No way to make a living being a school president. So this is a natural segue into the next topic on the program. You have this, there's so many key words that we can describe various years, right? During the COVID years, remember one of the words of the year was, what was it called when we were told to stay inside?
Oh,
it wasn't lockdown. It wasn't sequester in place. I always draw a blank on this word.
Something at home.
That was whatever that word was the word for the initial COVID years. Then the word, as we were coming out of COVID or trying to navigate COVID, the big word was pivot. Remember when pivot was all the rage, ladies and gentlemen? We got to pivot. We got to figure this out. It became cliche, the word pivot. That first word, you're going to look it up. What was the first word? I should know this. I've erased this from my mind because I refuse to do what the government told me.
Stay-at-home? Stay-at-home order?
Was it stay-at-home? I don't even think it was something else. Kevin Yancey, what was the word?
Place.
Bill McChesney. Wasn't shelter in place. Wasn't shelter in place. This wasn't a terrorist attack. What was the word, Bill? What was the word, Kevin Yancey? There was a specific term we used in the COVID that the government told us not to leave. Quarantine. Is it quarantine, Bill McChesney says? So maybe that's the word of the initial COVID. Then it was pivot. The word of 2025 that's become cliche is uncertainty.
Really?
Uncertainty with the administration. What's Trump going to do today? Uncertainty with rates, mortgage rates, 10-year Treasury, Federal Reserve, inflation, to rate cut or not to rate cut. Yeah. Uncertainty. Uncertainty with the labor market. Uncertainty with the stickiness of data and whether inflation is going to hang around. Uncertainty is the word of 2025. Look at the uncertainty as it applies to Charlottesville. The University of Virginia, there's a head-hunting firm, a search firm out of Boston that specializes in hiring school presidents and is telling the search committee that's comprised of board of visitor members, faculty, student, and heavy hitters at the University of Virginia that hiring this position faces major obstacles, which we just outlined. UVA has uncertainty at its president's post, uncertainty in its C-suite, uncertainty with the UVA health leadership, uncertainty with its board of visitors, and it's faced change at the foundation with institutions like Colette and Tim Rose retiring. Colette Sheehy and Tim Rose retiring, and new blood in. Uncertainty at the university. That hits the Venn diagram, UVA's uncertainty, with the uncertainty in the Venn diagram of what's happening in the city. Uncertainty in the city, okay? Keith Smith, and put that lower third on screen, on Real Talk this morning, he looked at data points with the Charlottesville Area Association of Realtors, back-end digital infrastructure, through the first 9 months and change, almost 10 months, year to date, up until September 26th, goodness gracious. We're about to enter the fourth quarter of the year. Next week, we're in the fourth quarter of the year, folks. From January 1 until September 26th of this year, real estate value on units sold, attached or detached, in 2025 is down 8% versus 2024. 8%.
You think that's because prices rose too quickly and it wasn't a natural rise? It was just,
Could be a little of that. Could it be a little bit of the uncertainty where people are waiting on the sidelines to see if rates drop in the beginning of next year? Keith just attended a conference in San Diego with real estate heavy hitters across the nation, and they say that 30-year fixed, once it gets to 5.8, this is the national movers and shakers say, when you get that 30-year to 5.8%, that's going to get the people that have the 2 and 3% interest rates to jump off those rates and to put their stacks of money and of equity into play. He also gave a very eye-popping statistic. 40% of homeowners in the nation, 40% of homeowners in the nation do not have a mortgage on their house. 40%.
Yeah.
Of homeowners, 4 out of 10 do not have a mortgage on their house. This according to the conference where it's the C-suite of the big firms nationally in San Diego. He just came back, heard that was eye-popping. Mm-hmm. So you got the university with leadership uncertainty, the university with political landmines everywhere, the university struggling to hire a president, probably betting that president's not going to be hired into 2026, certainly after Spanberger's been elected, certainly after we see what Spanberger does to the Board of Visitors, because who's going to take that job knowing that your bosses may clash with you once a new governor is in the governor's mansion and appoints new BOV members potentially?
Yeah.
That piggybacks on the mortgage uncertainty. That piggybacks on the uncertainty with real estate values dropping 8 points. Piggybacks on the uncertainty of sales tax collection. Chamber of Commerce just released that information. First two quarters of this year, 2025, versus the first 2 quarters of 2024. 2025 is down, and 2024, the whole year, was down versus 2023.
Uncertainty of a new zoning ordinance that's
Go ahead.
in limbo for the next year.
A new zoning ordinance that is one of the drivers of economic vitality in the city is development. We may not like the development. I don't like a lot of development, but economic development in portion, in large part, in some part's the better description, driven by development, driven by the riverbends of the world, riverbend developments, driven by the Woodards of the world, Anthony and Keith. Driven by development, jobs, supply chain, vitality, new houses, new rooftop assessments and taxes collected on them. Uncertainty with a new zoning ordinance, a trial not set until a year from now. And that's just the start of the trial.
Yeah.
Uncertainty tied to meals tax being down, tourism being down. 2024, tourism was down 1 point in the city in collections versus 2023. This macro word uncertainty for 2025 certainly applies on the micro level in Charlottesville in 2025. And this came up on Real Talk with Keith Smith. How many people are saying right now, and raise your hand if you're a part of this. Maybe you're a part of this, Judah. I am not a part of this contingent. But how many people watching and listening to this show, whether in real time or at your leisure post time, are saying, I don't live in the city. I could give a rat's ass what that clown show on council is doing. It doesn't apply to me. How many of y'all are saying that? How many of you guys are saying that?
I don't think I would. I don't think I would say that. A lot of us, even if we don't work in the city, I mean, the effects of what the city does are farther reaching than just the borders of Charlottesville.
There's a revenue sharing agreement with the city in Albemarle County.
Yeah.
There's a boatload of people that commute into the city from counties around Charlottesville.
Yeah.
The University of Virginia is in the city in Albemarle County and elsewhere. To say that they're not linked and we don't care, that it doesn't affect us, is short-sighted. Are you able to quarantine? There's that word. Are you able to quarantine the uncertainty that is Charlottesville to keep it from infiltrating, spreading, or diseasing Albemarle County and the surrounding counties? That's a question I have for you. You talk about these cliches. Is Charlottesville able to pivot from uncertainty? And is Albemarle County able to quarantine the uncertainty of Charlottesville to keep it from infiltrating or sickening Albemarle's economy? And I'm going to make a comparison that is really ruffling the feathers of a lot of people in positions of power and noteworthiness. And I'm going to ruffle their feathers again because I believe what I say. And what I say is not disguised or masked by politics or having to brown nose with people. Why you listen to this program is I shoot you straight. And it served me well. It served me well. I will equate council today in Charlottesville to the council led by Nikiah Walker. You may not have the sensationalistic headlines that you had during Nikiah Walker's term, but you have the level of unpredictability. You have the level of financial concern where developers in Nikiah Walker like Keith Woodard were pulling out of a project on Water Street, a home for the farmers market, multifamily, retail on Water Street, left $1 million+ of underground infrastructure and said, I'm not dealing with these clowns. Same stuff is happening. I got a Facebook message. I'm not going to say who sent this to me. Say, Jerry, that home on Alderman Road near Ivy that was going to be converted into that sixplex.
Yeah.
Remember those townhouse towers that were all going to be those brownstones. We were calling them brownstones. They were going to be $1 million+ each sold. They were going to take a $835,000 rancher in the Lewis Mountain neighborhood. Evergreen bought it, right? Builders, the development firm.
Yeah.
They put the cart before the horse with purchasing this rancher because they were going to be the first to capitalize and be opportunistic on the new zoning ordinance. Mm-hmm. And they bought a rancher for $835,000 some dollars, right?
Yeah.
And they're going to turn it into 6 luxury brownstones, each $1.5 million roughly a piece. And they were going to get ridiculous return on investment. I just got an off-the-record DM that rancher and Tony Lewis Mountain is back on the market for sale. Mm. And Evergreen's like, get me the F out of Dodge. The similarities between the Nikiah Walker era and this council are obvious. During the Nikiah Walker era, there was that revolt from Charlottesville. A Facebook page, a group was birthed from it. During this era, you see the same thing. During the Nikiah Walker era, developers were running away from projects, just throwing in the towel as if it was the corner working a boxing match and their prize fighter was punch drunk, had been hit so much in the early rounds that he was staggering and wobbling with his knee. So the corner man and the cut man throw in the towel and say, Tyrone is done from fighting. You win the match on TKO. Evergreen is Keith. Evergreen and Lewis Mountain was what Woodard was on Water Street with the underground infrastructure. They're just like, F this. We're going to lose some money and cut our losses and get out of here. Because throwing good money after bad money is bad business.
Yeah.
Did we make a bad move? Did we lose hundreds of thousands of dollars? Absolutely. Brand equity? Undoubtedly. But throwing good money after bad money is terrible business. Terrible business. Mm-hmm. And the only difference between this council and the council led by Nikiah Walker, who compared the city of Charlottesville to rape in poetry, allegory, metaphor that was picked up by the New York Times, the only difference is today's mayor is seen as a lovable teddy bear and a nice guy, and not someone that was divisive and angry and sensationalistic. Mm-hmm. That's the only difference. If it was a different personality type setting the meeting agenda and commanding the room and the dais, if it was more of an alpha personality type, you'd have a slam dunk comparison. You got developers running away. You got police chiefs who are being villainized. You got the business community that's being stigmatized.
And villainized.
You got a priority offered to an extremely small population of people, activists and the houseless, and both times. Mm-hmm. And the only people, when it's all said and done, that's going to be impacted by this are the activists that are being vocal right now, who are on the financial margin. Because in 4 or 5 months, Sam Sanders is going to tell council, if you want to keep doing what you're doing right now, you're going to have to figure out some sales tax collection incremental revenue streams. Because your sales tax, your tourism tax, your lodging tax, your meals tax, and your real estate values are all down.
And that's if Sam Sanders is still around then.
Sam Sanders in the Q&A last week said there's multiple times, he said it in the microphone, multiple times I've thought about quitting this job.
Yeah.
His exact words, the city manager, multiple times I've thought about quitting this job.
Mm-hmm. Let's hope he doesn't.
Sam, I think, I hope you hear this, Sam Sanders. I've zinged you a little bit with Sandersville, the shanty town you allowed to be created in Market Street Park, where you then backstepped on that, and then you forced your police chief to clear Sandersville by bringing pizzas and proverbially knocking on tent doors to ask the homeless to leave. Thank God nothing happened there. Right? That was not a good move. But I watched him in this Q&A. This dude gets it. But Sam Sanders, if you think being a president of the University of Virginia is not a way to make a living, like Jim Ryan has said, and he was paid $1 million, and he got a free mansion to live in, country club memberships everywhere, vehicles to drive, and $1 million in compensation. Sam didn't get the free place to live.
Right.
Sam doesn't get the country club memberships everywhere. May get a vehicle stipend, but it's probably like what do you got, Sam? Like a Chevy Impala? A Ford Taurus? Is that what it is? It ain't no Benz. It's not a 7 Series Beamer. And he's making what, 2 bills? 2 Hyundai Plus?
Yeah.
If UVA school president is no way to make a living, Jim Ryan's words, city managers definitely no way to make a living. Especially with a man of that talent and skill set that could go in the private sector and command some real dinero.
Yeah.
And you know, eventually we're going to realize, like we realized with Nakia Walker, how terrible she left the city, the shape she left the city in. Eventually we're going to realize that, goodness gracious, what's going on here? Mm-hmm. And who was making the decisions then? Or had the pomp and circumstance title? And this is the commentary that you're not finding elsewhere. The commentary that cuts through the noise and just tells you what's going on. Comments coming in quicker than I can think of. Bill McChesney says, don't forget the back down at Dairy Market where Chris Henry and Paul Manning chose not to continue expanding the multifamily apartments on Preston Avenue because of the backlash from the 10th and Page neighborhood. Great call, Bill McChesney. Why don't we add to that? How about the current backlash that's happening around West Main Street, Judah?
Yeah. West Haven really does not want that. I believe there's an upcoming, not maybe remodel is not the right word, but West Haven, I think, is planning some changes. They want a what is it? I believe they're calling it a memory walk, and the West Main plan is going to mess that up. They also don't want to feel like they're being shut out, hidden. Locked in away from the rest of the city with this. I believe it's an 11-story building was the plan.
Apartment tower.
Yeah.
That would further block the sun and create a perimeter of skyscrapers around public housing.
Yeah. They feel like that's just a continuation of
what already is
a lot of what's happened in Charlottesville.
The standard. What already is 600 West Main, the flats, and all the apartment towers down West Main Street.
And more.
Guess what, West Haven? The city's 10.2 square miles. And guess what, West Haven? West Main Street is where apartment tower development is supposed to be built. It's the gateway to UVA and the downtown. It's on public transportation. And it's extremely underutilized if you think about it from a height standpoint. If you could ask yourself, what are the most underutilized or underperforming corridors in the city, I've often said it's CVille and High Street. High Street, the gateway into the city and downtown from eastern Albemarle County and beyond. CVille, let's cut to the chase, extremely underperforming. Anthony and Keith Woodard own a great chunk of Cherry Avenue. Let's see what their plan for that is. I'm seeing significant movement and remodeling at the bus station, the Greyhound station, which Anthony and Keith purchased. I'm hearing community bikes are moving into there. But wouldn't you characterize, viewers and listeners, that West Main Street is perhaps underperforming from a height standpoint? West Haven is underperforming from an execution standpoint. That was the whole premise of what Heather Hill, the former counselor, and Kathy Galvin, the former counselor, wanted with the West Main Streetscape project.
Yeah.
They wanted to create a plan, a small area plan, an execution plan, a transition plan for this most prominent and significant gateway, West Main Street, between UVA and the downtown mall. And during the Nakia Walker era, her leadership, that plan was shot to pieces as if it was a shotgun, shooting shell everywhere, buckshot everywhere. And in the collateral damage of that buckshot was free money from UVA and free money from VDOT, free money from the state.
Which we've since given back.
Which we since gave away and turned away. We turned away from free money. And that instead, the city earmarked funds for the West Main Streetscape project went to Buford School reconfiguration. It's not Buford anymore, excuse me. Is it what, Charlottesville Middle School?
I don't know.
I can't keep up. Can you keep up?
I
Lee Park,
definitely
Freedom
can't
Park,
keep up.
Emancipation Park, Market Street Park. Buford, Charlottesville Middle School. I can't keep up. When are we just going to call those schools PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4, PS5?
That would simplify things.
That's how they do it in the city of New York. Come on now. Marlene Jones watching the program. She hasn't commented in a while. I respect her opinion. Her photo on screen. Safe public access for bikes and pedestrians from West Haven to Main Street could be proffered. You know what she's saying right now, right there? If you want to build that West Main apartment tower that hovers over West Haven, have the developer, who's the same developer that built the standard apartment building that's on West Haven, that's on West Main Street right now, have him proffer a public access for bikes and pedestrians. I mean, maybe that looks like a bridge, an overpass over West Main Street. Who knows what that looks like? I'm all for bicycle and pedestrian safety. But I'm quick to emphasize the hypocrisy of the same people that are pushing housing density to create housing affordability and stabilize housing price points. The same group of people is the group of people that are saying, we don't want that housing density next to us. And the same group of people that are pumping low barrier shelter, we need a shelter for the homeless, low barrier shelter, are the same group of people that are saying we don't want the low barrier shelter on Cherry Avenue on the Salvation Army site. And here's looking at you, Livable CVille, and Stephen Johnson and Matthew Gillikin. That's hypocrisy. Units sold in 2025, City of Charlottesville, year to date, versus units sold year to date in 2024. Median values in 2025 are down 8% versus 2024, folks. 8%. 8%. And the chat you get from Juan, the mayor, when he's asked by the business community how you fix this, the chat is, our plan is to plan. Our plan is to plan, Judah. All right, we have a couple items we want to get out of the notebook, including what is perhaps a lighter topic, a randomly roaming piglet. Piglet would indicate juvenile pig.
Yeah, a young pig.
Is this Wilbur's randomly roaming Albemarle County?
Yeah.
Is he looking for Charlotte? You better watch out for my wife's skillet.
Uh-oh.
What's Wilbur doing? We'll get to that. Before, a couple of positive items. Albemarle County, those metal detectors, well, goodness gracious, the students have figured out how to walk through them quickly and efficiently, and it looks like the metal detectors are fairly frictionless now.
I don't think it's just the students, though.
Does anyone understand the argument against keeping kids safer by walking them through a gateway that determines if they have weapons on their person or not? Don't we do that at the high school football game and at the high school basketball game? And don't we do that?
First tested it out.
Don't we do that at the concert venues? And don't we do that at the airport? So we can do that as human beings at the football game, at the high school football games, at the high school basketball games. And we can do that at the high school soccer games. And we can do that at the concert venues. And we can do that at the UVA games. And we can do that at the airport. But goodness gracious, we just can't figure out how to do it at the high school. And if we do try to do it at the high school, God, it's going to create a pipeline to prison and incarcerate all these teenagers.
I think the issue a lot of people have is just the fact that it is now necessary. People look back and say, well, when has it ever been necessary to have metal detectors for our kids' safety in school?
Can I answer that question?
I'm sure you will.
It's necessary because never in our mankind have weapons of death been more accessible to men and women and children alike. Never in our mankind history have weapons of death been more readily available.
That's not necessarily true.
That is true.
That's not necessarily
true.
That is
true.
They used to have shooting in high schools.
We've had shootings in our high schools.
I mean, they used to have shooting classes where kids would have access to rifles.
We have our police chief that is openly telling us that weapons are being stolen on the regular from unlocked vehicles in city limits. And he's not just imploring, almost begging the community to not leave your guns in your car while your car is left unlocked.
Yeah, that's insane.
And it's happening every day. Literally, he's on record, the police chief. Who that watches and listens to this program thinks Mike Kochis is a reasonable guy? Put your hand in the air. My hand's in the air. Is your hand in the air?
Yeah.
Who thinks he's a level-headed dude? Is your hand in the air? You think he's a level-headed dude?
Yeah.
Super level-headed, right?
100%.
He's telling the community that people are leaving their guns in their car and kids are breaking into vehicles and taking them. Conan Owen and Sir Speedy of Central Virginia. Locally owned and operated Conan Owen. He's helping us with signage at our building, branding at our building, in a position that we're pursuing in downtown. He helped us create this banner directly behind us. Locally owned and operated, Darden School graduate, Conan Owen, Sir Speedy of Central Virginia. Any signage, graphics, direct mail, marketing collateral, print, trifolds, stickers, lanyards, you name it. Conan Owen, Sir Speedy of Central Virginia. You should have your gun, your concealed weapons permit, or your right to bear arms removed from you for a period of time if you have your gun stolen from your unlocked vehicle. You disagree?
I don't necessarily disagree. That would be very hard to implement.
Is responsible gun ownership leaving your gun in your car unlocked
That's
to have it
definitely
stolen?
Not responsible.
No. That's akin to leaving your gun on your coffee table in your house. Mm-hmm. Is it not?
With kids running around the house, yeah.
It's the second cousin of leaving your gun on the coffee table. The second cousin of that is leaving your gun in your car in an unlocked vehicle. And the chief is saying this is being done all the time. So props to Albemarle County for figuring out how to make walking through a metal detector frictionless.
Yeah.
Philip Dow says, absolutely, guns are readily available everywhere. A couple of other items I want to get out of the notebook. I got Nick Duke Sr. suggesting I get Paul Riley on the show. Paul is starting his run for the 5th District congressional seat. Really interesting career in military intelligence, earning a Bronze Star for his combat tour in Iraq. He looks Republican, but he's a real Democrat. Then he shares his URL. I got the, what's the team? What's his name? The guy that's constantly, John Reed. John Reed's camp is texting me pretty much every day. I get multiple texts every day from the John Reed camp. That's the lieutenant governor candidate, right?
Yeah.
Literally, multiple texts a day. I'm like, goodness gracious. Jim Dellenbeck, I'm hearing from his team, Jim himself. He's running for school board in the Rio district.
He's a good guy.
You know Jim Dellenbeck?
Yeah, he's an elder at my church.
Dude, they're reaching out left and right to come on the program. All right, since he's an elder at his church and I respect Judah's opinion, I'm going to forward the email to you. You go ahead and book him. I like to do the interviews on Wednesday.
My sister loves him. My sister had him as a I believe a history teacher in high school.
All right, that's all I need to hear. I trust your judgment. Jim Dillenbeck. I just forwarded you the email. You book him. Wednesdays is when we like to do the interviews. It's in your inbox. Elder in his church. He's running in the Rio district for Albemarle County School Board.
Yeah.
I think he's a school board they run as independents. Sounds like he leans conservative.
I mean, it's not supposed to matter in a school board race, but of course,
It's
in our
2025.
highly politicized locality,
Yeah, of course it matters.
whether or not somebody chooses to announce their political leanings, the opposition is going to find a way to use it against them.
Right.
Sadly.
Right. Exactly. All right, we're going to get to the randomly roaming Wilbur in Albemarle County. Before we do, we remind you of the football game tonight, 7:30, Florida State and UVA. The line's holding true at 6.5. So it looks like when kickoff time at Scott Stadium at 7:30, that line is going to be right around 6.5 points with the Seminoles a favorite. Top 10 team in the country. I've said on record, this is the most significant game at Scott Stadium in more than a generation, folks. Most significant game in more than a generation, and they think it's going to be a shootout. Vegas with the over-under at 60.5 points, 60.5, the over-under. Chandler Morris's first real test, probably. Des Kitching, the offensive coordinator, Tony Elliott, the head coach, their first real test. NC State was a test they lost, but this is a different animal with Florida State, top 10 in the country. ESPN tonight. Can't wait to watch that ball game. 7 p.m. Correction, 7 p.m. I said 7:30. 7 p.m., 7 p.m., 7 p.m. I want to highlight a new partner of the program, Oak Valley Custom Hardscapes. Oak Valley Custom Hardscapes, Judah Wickhauer. These are the people you call for any hardscape needs at your house. Custom hardscapes, outdoor living spaces, a free quote for you to consider, custom designs to fit any landscape and purpose, no matter how complex your hardscape installation may be. The team of Oak Valley Custom Hardscapes can deliver a beautiful, custom, outdoor living space for you to enjoy. They have professional planners, designers, expert quality, and significant experience with hardscape installation. Oak Valley Custom Hardscapes, ladies and gentlemen. OakValleyH.com. Wilbur's in Albemarle County during hunting season?
I don't know if you can get a
randomly roaming pig in Albemarle County during hunting season? Don't tell them Shiflets and don't tell them Morrises. Don't tell them Shiflets and Morrises, 2 F's, 2 T's, E at the end, 1 F, 2 T's, E at the end, 2 F's, 1 T, E at the end, 1 F, 1 T, E at the end, 1 F, 1 T, no E at the end. Don't tell them Shiflets, don't tell them Morrises that Wilbur's roaming in Albemarle County, Judah.
There may not be a problem soon.
What is going on with Wilbur?
I don't know, but we should be following this very closely. I mean,
this is the story of the year.
Yeah. ICE will show up outside of a courthouse, but will they help corral Wilbur?
Oh my God! ICE is going to bag Wilbur, throw him into a nondescript, unmarked white van while wearing camouflage. What was the thing? The mask they called that ICE was wearing?
Oh, balaclava.
ICE is going to wear baklavas. Throw Wilbur into.
I mean, seriously, does Wilbur have papers? Maybe not so seriously, but
that's your joke, not my joke. Funny story. Wilbur Roman. Where was he seen?
Let's see. Where did they find Wilbur? Owensville Road and Old Ballard Road.
That's right close to where I live. There's a Wilbur roaming around right close to where I live.
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
Hide your kids, hide your wife, hide your babies. Friday edition of the talk show. Judah Wickower is on point. My name is Jerry Miller. This is the I Love CVille show. If you need office space anywhere, no one has more at his disposal than yours truly. Office space, reach out to us. Office space, reach out to us. Anywhere from $350 a month to $10,000 a month. Sincerely mean that. Sincerely mean that. Office space, we help connect people with office space in Charlottesville. We help broker deals in Charlottesville, selling your businesses, buying businesses, finding money for your business. We can help make that happen for you. Judah Wickower, Jerry Miller, the I Love CVille show. So long, everybody.